Happy Sunday morning in mid-July. Grateful y'all managed to make it here in the heat up to your middles. Yeah. Anyway, good morning. I'm Chris Tackett. I am the music director here at Mountain Vista, and it falls to me to say good morning and welcome to Sunday morning at Mountain Vista. We're all glad you are here. Part of my duties are to tell you, shut your cell phones off, please. Please. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up this service. Got a lot of great stuff coming up this service. And you don't want to have to miss any of it because you're fumbling with your phone. One of the major pieces, one of the major things that we're going to sing in a little bit, and it becomes part of a theme for the whole service, is "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." Traditional Shaker tune goes back probably a few hundred years. We don't know. It is one of those tunes that kind of appeared out of the mists. And everyone knows it, and when you go and try and research it, everyone agrees it's of Shaker origin, but even the Shakers go, I'm not sure where it came from. So here it is. A true folk song in that way. I'm still reading, I'm still researching. If I find a better answer, I'll let you know, but that's the information I have as of this moment. You probably know it today mostly because of the work of American composer Aaron Copland. His ballet suite from 1943-44, originally given the quite prosaic title of Ballet for Martha. He wrote it under commission and for Martha Graham, who gave it the scenario and the title Appalachian Spring. It's become a famous work, it's all over the place, and a lot of it is built from "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." So, this morning I'm going to play the opening of Appalachian Spring, and then at the very end I'm going to play the closing of it. And in between we're going to go way off from Copland, except we do have one bit of Copland in the middle, his beautiful setting of At the River, that Joel's going to sing beautifully for us. But Appalachian Spring is suffused with American folk tune and folk tune sounds. This beginning has the shape of "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." But tell me if you can hear it. It's really hidden deep. Just the shape and the outline of it kind of perfumes the whole thing. This is the opening of the Ballet for Martha, Appalachian Spring.
Good morning. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Samar Adi. I am today's practice associate for today's service, which is being led by Reverend Matthew Funcareri. And we start with gratitude. This service and the works of this congregation would not be possible without the dedication and hard work of so many people and so many hands. So I'd like to start off with thanking Chris Tackett, our music director, to our religious ed director, Stacy Sosa, and volunteers who are in the nest right now with our kiddos, to our congregational administrator, Kalea Martin, and to our AV crew who back there help with making sure that this service is put online and everyone can see what we're doing here. To our welcoming and hospitality crew, and to Joel Yelland, our song leader today. And so let me not also forget the many, many volunteers who help not just today's service, but also just helping run this congregation. Thank you. Welcome to those of you who are here in person, those of you who are watching virtually, and those of you watching sometime in the future or online right now. And to include those of you, please wave as the camera pans the room for those of you online. You're welcome. Last week, my family and I went out of town for some hiking and time off. I was really hopeful I would get through a chunk of my to-be-read pile and put a dent in it. And while I did read quite a few books, somehow magically more ended up in that TBR pile. So I don't know how successful I was. But one of the books I did get a chance to read, or almost done with, is Bell Hook's book, All About Love, which is I highly recommend. She explores themes of love and intersections with community, with justice, with interdependence and mutuality. And she reminds us that love is an action, never simply a feeling, and that there can be no love without justice. So for Hooks, love is a practice, something that resists domination and nurtures the growth of all people. And democracy, so our theme this month is democracy. Democracy isn't only a system of government, it is a covenant of relationship. She helped kind of reframe that a little bit. It's the daily work of shaping a world where everyone's dignity and worth is protected, which when we think about our Unitarian Universalist values, we can see the similarity there. And like love, democracy is also a practice. We build that practice through our choices, our courage, our willingness to keep seeing each other as much as fully possible human. And sometimes practicing democracy means being the voices that names what's wrong, a role that can feel isolating, and a role unless we hold it within the framework that Hooks brought up. And she offers a willful commitment to nurture our own and one another's growth. And so may that commitment guide us as we for a democracy rooted in justice and compassion, as well as the type of love that Bell Hooks spoke about, love that acts and liberates. Thank you. And today's chalice lighting is The Great Turning by Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather. We gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the Great Turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name. Blessed be.
Good morning. As many of you already know, our charity partner for this month is UU The Vote. Theirs is a dynamic campaign of Unitarian Universalists in support of our democracy. And UU The Vote this last week put into their newsletter these words: "The power of our social justice ministries has never solely rested in a court, a Congress, or governing institution and what they can deliver. But our work has always reached beyond legislation and elections and judicial rulings alone, because we know that victories are won every day. Organizing wins happen every day. We win when congregations become sanctuaries of belonging, when neighbors show up for one another in moments of crisis, and when communities cultivate the skills, courage, and infrastructure needed to sustain movements for the long haul. These are skills we already know, practice, and share here at MVUU, but also those who have been trained by UU the Vote. Arizona UUs are planning to help us hone them. In the Solidarity Summit, We Are Builders coming up this Labor Day weekend. We will be learning together how to shift our skills in showing up rapidly for individual actions to building a shared journey with organized coordination for the long term right here in our area. Grateful for this opportunity and for all that UU the Vote has done in awakening us to what's happening here in Arizona in the past and currently. We take a collection for them this entire month in our woven basket just outside those doors. And next to the UU the Vote basket is the MVUU bowl. The wooden bowl is for our donations, for the ongoing gratitude for our people and programs in place in service to our congregation. All that you can give in the basket for UU the Vote or the bowl for MVUU is always gratefully received.
We sang it last week, number 1054, in our beautiful teal book, Singing the Journey. We sang it last week, Let This Be a House of Peace. Normally when we sing it, we talk about our church house, our own house. But the more I look at the lyrics and the more we talked about this week, we thought this is a perfect metaphor for where we're at and what we're hoping for the country. So not just let this, our church house or our own house, be a house of peace. Let our country be a house of peace. And it's such a beautiful song and such a beautiful thing. We thought it bore repeating across this whole month. So today we'll sing verses 1 and 2 of number 1054 in the teal book and of course on the screens. When we sing, we rise, and together let us rise. This works for you, and let's sing. Let this be a house of peace. Verses 1.
Let this be a house of peace, of richer and humanity, sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open door for question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of freedom, guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred difference shall not be divide us. Let this be a house of peace.
This be our house of peace.
Let this be a house of peace.
Let this be our house of peace.
Let this be a house of peace.
Let this be our house of peace.
Let this be a house of peace.
Let this be our house of peace.
Thank you. invite you now to a time of contemplation, of considering and pondering the dawn of the American wild card. Now, Unitarian Universalists have always been wild cards. We've been truth tellers, barrier breakers, peacemakers, and joy bringers. However, we've not always been around. Our faith was born in 1961 when the Universalist Church of America started off of the Universalist Church in America that was started in 1793. Bless you. And the American Unitarian Association, which started in 1825. The two of them merged in 61 to become the Unitarian Universalist Association. And even though we dropped from our denominational name American, and we swapped Universalist and Unitarian stuff around, that's a longer story for another time, clearly, we have felt and understood ourselves as an American religion. We do trace our spiritual lineages back to Europe and the Middle East, but we focused on our Universalist and Unitarian parentage on this continent, beginning with the Puritans. You all think of the Puritans, I'm sure, when you think of Unitarian Universalists.
Thank you so much for that. Next, the historic
and even the suggestion that the Puritans were wild cards makes them sound a lot more fun than they were. They celebrated nothing. But they did leave behind all that they knew in Europe. They risked coming to a new place where they could be free from state orthodoxy, to live as their beliefs guided them. We don't share their values today, but we can witness they got the ball rolling for us as wild cards. As generations of Puritan colonialists lived into their freedom, their practice of religion as they believed, their beliefs changed. And congregationalism. I can say Unitarian Universalism, those 11 syllables roll off my tongue, but congregationalism arose among them, and individual voices began to emerge. Prototypical Unitarians, pre-Universalists began to speak and be heard, like one of my favorites, Abigail Adams. Well known as the partner and equal to her husband, John Adams, the second president of the United States, and mother of John Quincy Adams, the sixth president, Abigail Adams was a wild card. And on March 31st, 1776, she wrote this to her husband, John Adams: "I long to hear that you have declared an independency. And by the way, in the new code of laws, which I suppose will be necessary for you to make, I desire that you would remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited power into the hands of husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation." You can see why she's one of my favorites, right? We do know that John listened, and we know that the Continental Congress did not. Abigail Adams became a lifelong suffragist and abolitionist, seeking to better our democracy because it needed to include women, and we needed to abolish slavery. And that's what being a wild card in America is all about. It's about speaking out against oppression, certainly those that impact you, but even more importantly, those that cause the harm and suffering in others. The end of being a wild card is not just being a voice, but inspiring others to action, to improve our democracy, to be truth tellers, barrier breakers, peacemakers, joy bringers, wild cards. It's long been part of our American legacy and a part of our faith tradition. Think of that. Think of that. And know that today we invite our spiritual legacy here with our wild cards. Employing a ritual of democracy that I designed a couple of decades ago, we're going to invite 3 of you who don't yet know who you are to share our platform for the free voice. There are 3 wild cards just like this one, taped to the bottom of your seats right now. Go ahead and check. And help those next to you find them. It's a little piece of paper held with blue tape. Anne, who is running our camera, knows where it is. Tap somebody and we're going to help each other look. Oh, and if you find one, hold it up. There's one in the back. There's 2. We have a 3rd one out there somewhere. Anne, where's the 3rd one? Which section is it in? It's in this section right. Oh, there it is. There's the 3rd one. Hold them up high, please. Hold them up high. Each wild card, and they have instructions on the back, is an invitation for our members and friends to come forward in the latter part of our service to speak and to be heard about what has inspired you within this service. And if that idea doesn't appeal to you, before we get to the speaking part, we're going to have a time to shuffle the wild cards, meaning that if you have one and you don't want it, you can pass it to another person. No one needs to keep a wild card, so there's often a frenzy of passing it around until it ends up in the hands of someone who wishes to speak. And that could be you. It could be you. So the possibility that you might be one of our wildcard speakers is there for all of us. Well, not for all of us, because we do have a disclaimer. The wildcard lottery excludes worship leaders, UUA staff, and all of those outside the United States, but does include our provinces and territories. Ours is a house of freedom, where your dignity and worth is here to be cherished in a platform for your voice. We're here to listen with open hearts, to hear your truth, your breaking down barriers, your peacemaking, your joy. If you've got a card, just breathe. Nothing's going on just yet. Just breathe. I invite you all to a time of meditation, breath, deep as your body requires, slow as your body allows. Rest here among these people and hear these words by the Reverend Harry Emerson Fosdick. Democracy is based upon the conviction that there are extraordinary possibilities in ordinary people. Reverend Fosdick was one of the most liberal Christian pastors of the 20th century, and he believed that we are truth tellers. We are the barrier breakers. We are the peace makers. We bring the joy. We are the wild cards of American democracy. And it's doubly true for us through our religious heritage. You You are a wild card, each and every one. You hold the extraordinary possibility of a truth only as you know it, of breaking down the walls that confine you, of making peace, of being joy. There are those who would try to tell you differently. They will lie, build barriers. They will war and they will hate against you and those that you love. Do not believe them. Ours is a simple truth. We are all bound for freedom, liberation for everyone. We are wild cards here to hasten everyone on the way. You, as an inherently worthy and dignified wild card, what do you know? What do you feel? What do you intuit is coming? What is next for our congregation, for America, for our world?
Now, let's sing "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." Normally there's a whole dance that goes with this in the traditional form. I'm not going to teach choreography. You can relax. But as I mixed it up earlier, I said, I was trying to say, when we sing, we rise. So please, rise as suits you and sing with us. And it's number 16 in the gray hymnal, if you have a gray hymnal handy. Otherwise, of course, it'll be on the screen. And because it's relatively short, let's sing it twice.
Find ourselves in a place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When pure simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come round where we are to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When pure simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, then by turning we come round right.
We gather each Sunday with all that is happening in the world to speak truth, break down barriers, make peace, and bring joy.
We've set ourselves a challenging task as there are lies being told to intentionally separate us, bring conflict, and cause suffering. But we're up to the challenge. For we have set our purpose: engage, love, transform.
Our ceremony of purpose each Sunday is our reminder that no matter what, we are a people keeping joy alive. We pour out water, collected from Sonoran skies, flowing across the earth, and from the taps in our homes. This is our joy.
We add stones that name our cares and concerns. And we add stones of celebration. And when you've invited us to, we speak them aloud.
Yes, yesterday Ruth and I visited Sally Reynolds for the last time. She's recovering very well from her back surgery, which was 5 weeks ago, and so she's taken down her care calendar. And she's overjoyed by all the support that she's gotten from many of you all here. Thank you.
And this is what we hold within our joy.
Our Pastoral Care Committee leads us in our celebration and care for one another. We give our individual time and talent, guiding our congregation in response to requests for aid, and making sure that we name the joy in each life so that we may all share it. Pastoral care helps us remember that no matter what, we create joy together.
Through all that will come, we hold one another in joy, and we commit ourselves to bringing it to the world. May it be so, as we choose it to be.
In This Familiar Place by Reverend Barbara Pescan. In this familiar place, listen to the sounds of breathing, creaking chairs, shuffling feet, clearing throats, and sighing all around. Know that each breath, movement, the glance meant for you or intercepted, holds a life within it. These are signs that we choose to be in this company, have things to say to each other, things not yet said, but in each other's presence, still trembling behind our heart's doors. These doors closed but unlocked, each silent thing waiting, on the threshold between unknowing and knowing, between being hidden and being known. Find the silence among these people and listen to it all. Breathing, sighs, movement, holding back. Hear the tears that have not yet reached their eyes. Perhaps they are your own. Hear also the laughter building deep where joy abides. Despite everything, listen, rejoice. Listen, rejoice, and say Amen.
Thank you.
And now it's time to shuffle the cards. Chris will be playing for us. What are you playing?
Probably gift.
Yeah. Probably a
Like
gift
we
to be
rehearsed,
simple.
you know.
And in the choreography we're not teaching you, there was a shuffling move of sorts. So we're kind of in the spirit of that. And simply what you do is just, if you do not want to take the opportunity, that invitation to speak in just a little bit, just turn to someone and hand it to them. Now, they may quickly turn away to hand it to someone else, which is fine, but don't give it back to the same person. Going back and forth is, not a lot of fun. Please. Please rise and shuffle. Oh. Okay. Shuffle. Just hand it. Our litany is by the Reverend Joan Javier Duval. We come from a people bound for freedom. We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of orthodoxy.
William Ellery Channing.
William Ellery Channing.
Declared reason and conscience to be our guides.
John Murray.
John Murray.
Survived a shipwreck and preached a gospel of love.
Rod Richards.
Rod Richards.
As a lay leader here, and then as a minister, taught with words and actions. What you believe is so important, we will not dictate it to you.
We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of white supremacy.
Nathan Johnson.
Nathan Johnson.
A Black Universalist in New Bedford, Massachusetts, who sheltered Frederick Douglass on his first night of freedom.
James Reeb.
James Reeb.
A white minister from the North who answered the call to march from Selma to Montgomery and was met with violence of white supremacists. His death further catalyzed the passage of the Voting Rights Act.
Ysaye M. Barnwell.
Ysaye M. Barnwell.
Founded the Jubilee Singers, the first Black-led Unitarian Universalist gospel choir.
You see, we come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of patriarchy.
Olympia Brown.
Olympia Brown.
Fought to be admitted to a seminary and became the first woman ordained by a denomination in the United States. Campaigned for women's suffrage until the 19th Amendment was finally ratified.
Frances Ellen Watkins Harper.
Frances Ellen Watkins Harper.
Spoke to the National Women's Rights Convention, insisting to a largely white-led suffragists that Black women and men must not be ignored in the movement for equal treatment.
Sylvie Thigeson.
Sylvie Thigeson.
Helped to open one of the first birth control clinics in the United States in St. Paul, Minnesota, 50 years before birth control became legal.
We come from a people bound for freedom, determined to loosen the fetters of all that dehumanizes and separates us from our dignity and sacred worth.
Dorothea Dix.
Dorothea Dix.
Visited the cells of the mentally ill in Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Louisiana, and North Carolina, bringing to light their mistreatment and working to establish humane hospitals and just laws.
Martha and Waitstill Sharp.
Martha and Waitstill Sharp.
Worked in secret to secure the passage of those persecuted by Nazis in Europe, saving hundreds of lives.
Zach Walls.
Zach Walls.
Raised by two moms, he spoke out against Iowa's attempt to ban same-sex marriage and advocated for gender equality in the Boy Scouts of America.
We continue today to be truth tellers in our time.
We continue today as barrier breakers in the here and now.
We continue today as peacemakers for this moment. We are bound for freedom, building on foundations laid before us.
Let us give thanks.
After leading this ritual for nearly 20 years, it's become clear that it is often a good idea to have someone who is prepared to just show you how it's done. Now, they don't get to write it out. They're going to be brief. They're going to tell you what's from their heart, but it always helps just to have one person ready. And our person today is Debbie Roberts, our board president.
And the question is?
Oh, the prompt is, bound for freedom, what do you imagine is next for MVUU, for our country, for the world? Is that on? No? No, it's not. There you go.
Thank you. Well, as UUs, we should share a deep commitment to social justice. And we certainly have stepped up in that respect in this church over the past year. But there's so much more to be done. We see the daily assaults on democracy that come out of Washington, D.C. And when I say democracy, I'm not just talking about voting rights and gerrymandering, but also about the disintegrating rights of LGBTQ people and other minorities, talking about economic justice. There's so much out there that is challenging. But we're a small denomination. We have, I think, about 150,000 registered members in the United States, although there are many more who identify as UU. So we need to band together with other organizations, like-minded organizations, so that our power and our determination and our efforts can be felt and be more successful. And the other thing that comes to mind is that we are an aging population in our denomination. Look around. And I think that we need to make efforts to entice, to bring in younger people who have the energy to carry forward our ideals. Maybe we need to think about doing church differently. I don't know. But it's something we really need to think about for our future.
Thank you. Just an example. I'd like to invite all three of our wild card holders to come on up. Please join me here. 1, 2, 3. Thanks. If you just stand right shoulder to shoulder right here, that'd be lovely. Thank you. And if you would just first say your name and then speak what's on your heart.
I'm Pi Irwin, and this shuffled quite a bit, and then the time was out. But what I would say today is that many years ago, I had moved to Tennessee, and I knew that there were limited churches, and I had grown up in a Southern Baptist church. And I had gone to the University of Michigan and been in an American Baptist church, which was totally different. And I knew coming back, I could not. I had to find a religious home. And I opened a telephone directory. Remember those? Yes. And I flipped pages looking at churches, and Unitarian Universalist Church said, of freedom of reason and tolerance. And I thought, okay. And hearing today, I feel very encouraged and very prompted. It's easy for me to get discouraged when I look at the newspaper. And I'm very proud that we are a people for a long time of courage. Really think about the courage it must have taken Abigail Adams to say those things to her husband. A women's revolution, and coming down, for me, finding the courage to really be speaking out and to be a wild card, to find ways to do that. And Debbie, I think you're right. We are all aging, and every year we get a year older. And we need, and maybe that's another step for courageous action, being courageous in how we reach out.
Thank you.
But I thought this for me, the service was very inspiring. So.
Thank you, Pat. I'm JP. I'm a new face. I come here via Chris and Julie, and I come back to the UU for the second time in my life. Some of you heard when we had lunch together a few weeks ago that the first time I came back to you, or came to UU, I ran into the associate minister from my congregational church when I was a kid, who had come out, and when I told him I was also gay, gave me the biggest hug ever. And from that, I ended up back at the UCC, and then ended up at Temple, and I've been a few different places. But part of what brought me back now is having a community of faith that is also a community of belief and action. One of the hardest things for me in this country right now is people using the capital C Christian and then behaving in very ungodlike, unspiritual ways. And part of what draws me to UU is we walk our talk. And I have been a truth teller my whole life, and it gets you into lots of trouble. It does. It's not fun. It's not easy. People really don't like you some of the time. And so being in a congregation where truth telling is a priority is one of the reasons I'm at MVUU. I come from the people that came as Puritans and became Congregationalists and Unitarians. And I come from a legacy of going to an elementary school named after a man who died not long after the man from the Litany, Jonathan Daniels. He died in 1968. He was an Episcopal seminarian who had not planned to go to the South that year. And something pulled him. God pulled him. And he was arrested along with a number of other young people in a little town in Haynesville, called Haynesville in Lowndes County, which some of you are old enough to remember why Lowndes County still gives us shivers. And they were released from jail together, and they walked across the corner to the little drugstore to get something cold to drink. And a white sheriff's deputy came out with a shotgun. He was not the only one with guns, and aimed at a 12-year-old girl. And Jonathan Daniel, the school I went to is named for him, stepped in front of that bullet. And I have stood on the corner, and I have seen the memorial, and I grew up with that legacy. So even though I grew up UCC, Unitarians Considering Christ, I have long felt that those of us with privilege have a responsibility to act. And so I'm here because this is a community that I believe in and I feel safe in. And we have great music and great leadership, not just from our minister, but from our whole team. So thank you for letting me be part of this congregation.
Thank you.
My ancestors came over very, very early, and they were Puritans. And one of our great family stories and pride is that an ancestor was excommunicated from the Puritans because of being fighting in the Revolution. But the rest of us, like me, I'm a pacifist. I wouldn't have fought, but I fight in different ways. I show up individually, person to person. I take care of Dylan. I'm extremely concerned about passive eugenics. You look at the history, you look who gets taken first. We talk a lot about the people that are visible. And we know people of color. We know people who are LGBTQ, but you don't see Dylan as much. And Dylan is a very, very, very much at risk. Will he still have insurance? He has a port, an IV that goes direct to his heart. Requires a lot of medical attention and materials. He has an ostomy. All of that could be ripped away from him. His caregivers that provide for him so that I can go to work, all of that could be gone in a heartbeat. Because his life is not valued. Because he doesn't go to work and he doesn't pay taxes. He is considered unworthy. And he is so incredibly worthy. And he is so incredibly spiritual. And his wisdom and his messages that he spells on his letterboard, someday you will all be blessed to hear them. Because as he lays there in bed, he leaves his body and he goes to the other side and he sees love, and he sees unity, and his purpose is to bring that here and to share it. And so I quietly stand in the background and try to help him so that he can deliver his purpose and his message.
Thank you for speaking. I don't go anywhere. For speaking your truth, for allowing us to listen. Thank you for helping us to begin down breaking barriers just between us in this moment. Thank you for helping us know what peace is in a time of conflict, by telling us of your ancestry, your stories, your children. Thank you for bringing us joy, for being joy. Thank you.
One more song to sing this lovely morning, number 119 in our gray book, Singing the Living Tradition, and of course on the screen, the very rousing hymn that goes by a lot of different texts, and there's a lot of different sets of words that go to it. In this case, we're singing with the beautiful text, once to every soul and nation. Rise with us, sing with us, number 119.
Once to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide. In the strife of truth with falsehood, for the good or evil side, then to stand with truth is noble, when we share its wretched crust. Ere that cause bring fame and profit, and 'tis for us to be just. Though the cause of evil prosper, yet 'tis truth alone is strong. Though its portion be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong, then to it is the brave one chooses, while the coward stands aside, till the multitude make virtue of the faith they have denied. Once to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide. In the strife of truth with falsehood, for the good or evil side, then to stand with truth is noble, when we share its wretched crust. Ere that cause bring fame and profit, and 'tis prosperous to be just.
Thank you for joining us today. There have been some very powerful themes that we have heard. A quote that came to me as I was listening, and I'm not sure who actually said this, but none of us are free unless all of us are free. Anyone know who might have said that? Lots of people. There you go. There's some variation of that. But the thing that comes to me around that quote is that it requires us to see our privilege in order to fight for those who are not free. It requires us to see how we are benefiting from the systems in which we are a part of. I think about that when I am around family members who are darker skinned or have an accent, and just the difference in how I am treated as a white passing middle income woman versus like some of my family members. It requires us to see our privilege of our socioeconomic status, of our able-bodiedness, and to see it in a way and not get defensive. And so those were some of the thoughts that came to me. I appreciate all of you being here. The future is happening, and fulfilling our mission, we would engage, love, and transform it. Here are several announcements of events and activities you can join in to help craft our future. We've got the MVU Grief Group. All are welcome at our Sunday afternoon grief group. Anne and Terry invite you to bring all that is in your heart as you mourn. There are many kinds of losses, and this small group setting is open for you to speak and to be listened to. And so please ask either Anne or Terry any questions you may have during fellowship after the service. Next, we have Jen.
Good morning, my friends. Good Trouble Lives On. I'm Jennifer Powers. I'm with Singing Resistance Tucson, as well as with all of you. All right. The late, great John Lewis coined the phrase good trouble to describe necessary actions taken to achieve social justice and change. Let's go. Good trouble exists because of people like us. I know this room is filled with people who are big fans of this extraordinary civil rights activist. I know there are people in this room who do whatever and whenever they can to help those in need. Well, we have something for you. On Saturday, July 18th from 9 a.m. to 10:30, we are gathering at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson out on 22nd Street. We ask that you bring a donation if you can, but regardless, the list the list of donations is up there, and it was in the newsletter, and I just got a message yesterday that they are specifically looking, in addition to these things, for men's clothing and for pet food. There will be speakers, lots of speakers, speaking to John Lewis's actions, and you'll meet really wonderful people. Singing Resistance Tucson will be doing some songs. Singing Resistance Tucson, by the way, meets every Sunday at 4 p.m. You are all welcome, whether you can sing or you're more like me and just have enthusiasm. If you want to sing with us at the event, just come today at 4 o'clock to practice the songs. On a personal note, I have met people who are afraid of going to the grocery store because ICE is kidnapping people there. I have met people who are afraid to go to work because they're afraid of getting abducted. They are afraid of getting things they need for their homes, so we are donating so that they can have them and not risk going to grocery stores. By the way, the day before, on Friday, we're going to be Sing Resistance and the Ukulele Fight Club, which is really cool. We'll be at Siskamani's protest starting at 7:45, but it goes to like 9. So come anytime. You don't have to be there quite that early. But we would love to see you there too. So Singing Resistance at 4 o'clock next Friday at Siskamani's, but the big event, John Lewis. And I know that there are big fans in here. Thank you.
And next we have Finances with Renee, our MVU treasurer. Come on up.
This is the treasurer's hat. Actually, I was really hoping Bob Klein would be here today because Cubs. Yeah. Sorry? All right, yes. Our youngest kids are moving to Canada, so they're going to become Blue Jays fans, so they gifted me this Iowa Cubs hat. Just wanted to make sure Bob knew about it too. So anyway, in the annual meeting, we only have about 15 minutes to talk about finances, and this has been a really big year. And in addition to that, I would like to start more of an open communication. So today, this is a whatever we want to talk about, very informal session. We'll be in the Mesquite room, and some people are going to be in person. I've only had one request for on Zoom, so we'll have that available. Email me right now if you want to be on Zoom, because I can send you the link. And as I said, I will bring some information, but some of it is I need to know what's on your minds. What do you want me to be talking about? And how can I inform you more about what's been going on during our troubled year and our rebuilding? So that's it. Noon, Mesquite Room, be there. And please, I am always available, except for when I'm going on vacation. No. But other than that, you can give me a shout and I would be happy to meet with you one-on-one if you have a concern or if you have something you just want to know more about. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Renee. A shared path. A Shared Path by Craig Rowland. Let us leave this gathering, not with the pressure to be polished, but with the permission to be real. To say the awkward thing kindly, to reach out before the words are perfect, to risk being seen. And in doing so, make space for others to be seen too. In a world that often asks us to curate and filter, may we remember truth is magnetic, and small acts of honesty can call a community into being. Carry this light with you, not in your hands, but in your words, in your invitations, in your willingness to begin. Blessed be.
Go and be wild cards. Go and tell the truth. Go and break down the barriers. Go and find the peace. Make the peace. Be the peace. And joy, you know what joy is. You don't need somebody to ask you to go and to find it, be it, bring it. Be the wild cards in our world. May it be so.